Hi everybody, it's me, Wendy Lou again. Sorry, I was going to post yesterday, but it was a crazy day and I was tired and I just wanted to sleep. So I'm posting today. It's another Am I the A-hole Reddit video for you. So I really hope you enjoyed these stories. I do go off onto a tangent in a couple of them, or at least one of them if I remember, about my children and stuff like that, and even my dad. So please bear with me. But please, if you like the video, please subscribe, please like, please leave me comments on anything that you would like to see, on how I can fix this, if you know how to get this to go away in my glasses, because I know it makes it hard to focus on that when you see the screen. Just anything you can. You will see a cat come into the video at one point. You will hear me talk about a dog. My dog laying over here next to me right now. His name's Dozer. Um, so please, if you enjoy the video, give me a subscribe, give me a like. You know, I could use all the subscribes. I'm still new. I'm still working on this. I am so trying to get out there and just do this. It's fun. I actually enjoy it, which is weird because I'm an but there's a cat. I'm an introvert. I do not like being out there. But here, it's like, I don't know, maybe I'm more comfortable. So please subscribe, like, help me out, get me up there so maybe that I can start engaging with you. So on to the video, guys. First story. This one comes from Reddit user Public Werewolf 687. And the title states, Am I the a-hole for going no contact with my mother-in-law after she showed up to the hospital when we said we wanted no visitors? So buckle up, everyone. According to the OP, this is a long one. I, 25 female, and my husband, Dan, 24, started dating 4 years ago. I could tell from the start that his mom did not like me. She was always very cold, passive aggressive, or would just completely ignore me, and I never really understood why. Sometimes parents are like that. I can't even promise that I'm not going to be like that, because my boys are my world. But let's continue. I always try to interact, have conversations, ask questions about herself, etc. But it always felt like I was pulling teeth trying to build any type of personal connection with her, which really sucked because I really wanted to grow closer to her. From the start, it seemed that she had held some sort of resentment towards me in a "you're taking my son away from me" kind of way. But I always continued to try and push the discomfort to the side and continue trying to build some sort of relationship. Fast forward some months into our relationship, it felt like his mom started testing me to see how much she could get away with. During our interactions, she started finding ways to bring up women from my husband's past, saying, "Well, you're a lot better. Well, you're a lot better than so and so," or "Aw, I really miss husband's ex." She was so sweet and so fun to be around. It got to the point where my husband eventually called her out and told her to stop, and she threw a bit of a fit, left the room, and sat by herself. Eventually, when Dan went out to check on her, she cried to him, saying, "Well, I guess I'm just a terrible mom," and things of that nature. Let me make this so clear. My husband has had my back from the start. Has always been amazing at calling things out and standing up for me anytime he was able to. This is not at all a situation where he wasn't standing right behind me, being another voice for me. He and I come from two very different upbringings, and he had been a doormat to his family for years. I understand that this seems like it had been going on for too long, but I had to give Dan grace because he had also never been in this type of situation before, and he was handling it the best way he knew how. It's extremely hard to go against the grain, especially in a family that tries to manipulate you into being who they want you to be. It's easy to point fingers and say, well, he should have done this or that, but this was a totally new situation for the both of us, and we were both just trying to do what we thought was right. When Dan and I got engaged, she knew weeks ahead of time when he was going to propose. Diana asked for my father's blessing, and my family knew he would be doing it soon, but had no idea when it was actually going to happen. The day he proposed to me, we called our families to share the news. In the time it took us to return home, my family had put together a last-minute engagement celebration with my sister, brother-in-law, aunt, and grandparents. We had snacks, champagne, and a few little congratulatory gifts. We stayed for about an hour with my family before going to visit his. When we arrived at his family's house, his mother walked right past us, without saying a word, until Dan finally said, "Hi," to which she responds, "Oh, hi," A different family member runs up to us yelling, "Oh my gosh, congratulations! I'm so happy for you guys." And then his mom says, "Oh yeah, congrats." The rest of the night she proceeds to talk to me all about how a girl she knew was the most beautiful bride ever, showing me endless pictures of her wedding, not talking to me at all about the engagement. A few days later, we find out that she was angry at my family for throwing together a little party for us and not inviting her. Our family still hadn't met at this point, and my family didn't have her contact information to reach out. Let me reiterate, my family didn't know this was happening until we called them to tell them we were engaged that day. Meanwhile, his family had known for weeks and chose not to do anything. As time went on, she continued to disrespect me and us through passive aggressive comments, talking badly about me behind my back, ignoring me, etc., which led us to seeking counseling on how to handle the situation. Eventually, we sat down face to face to try and figure out what could be done to grow a healthy relationship with her, and the entire time she deflected and made it my or our fault. These conversations happened on multiple occasions and still nothing ever changed. She just got more and more hostile towards me. It sounds like this is just somebody who just does not want to get along with you no matter what you do. I'm sorry that you have to go through this, hon. Time goes on, we get married. She speaks badly about me on my own wedding day. We still try to rectify things, but I'm basically at my breaking point. Do I want to continue a relationship with her? No, but I would never ask my husband to cut things off with his mom. If he feels that's what's right, he will come to that on his own. I trust him. Fast forward a few years and I get pregnant. Of course, she is over the moon, not because I'm having a baby, but because she's having a grandchild. She wasn't a part of my pregnancy journey at all. She didn't reach out to check in. She never offered help with anything. Basically, radio silence until the week of my due date. Once the week of my due date rolled around, she would text me what she called her daily check-ins to ask how I was doing, but once I would respond explaining out how I was feeling, she wouldn't respond. It felt like she was just checking off a box. A week or two before the delivery, we told our families that we didn't want visitors, and if that would change, we would let them know. My family respected that, and of course, there was pushback from his side. When I went into labor, we sent a text to our families letting them know we were heading to the hospital. His mom responds asking if we wanted her there and that she wants to be there to support her son, not her daughter-in-law who's giving birth. Okay, lol. He reiterated multiple times to her that we didn't want visitors. About 2 hours later, he gets a text from her saying that she was in the waiting room and that she was just too excited and had to be there. I just stared at him in disbelief. But he assured me that he would take care of it. He did. He went to the waiting room, told her to leave, and we carried on and I gave birth to our beautiful baby. We didn't hear from her for days following while I was in the hospital, but we did hear from trustworthy sources that she was livid and that she was speaking very poorly about us while I was 3 days postpartum. Ugh, I hate people like this. Like, I get it, you're excited, you want to see the baby and everything, but let them tell you when they're ready, not just take it upon yourself and be like, oh, just because it's my grandchild, I get to see it. I don't have to listen. No, no. When we get home from the hospital, Dan called his mom to let her know that he was livid about her showing up and that she crossed a very serious boundary for her own selfish reasons. She cried to him, saying she just wanted to be there for him and that she was just so excited to be a grandma. The entire time she's trying to make him feel bad for telling her to leave, but after years of her disrespecting me, he wasn't having it. I also tried to just calmly explain why we felt disrespected, and as soon as she heard my voice, she went absolutely feral, screaming, "Who do you think you are? And who do you think you're talking to?" I went silent. I handed the phone back to my husband, and he hung up. I reached my breaking point. I had the worst mental breakdown I've ever experienced, all while just days postpartum. I told my husband I couldn't deal with the constant disrespect anymore. One thing led to another, and we ultimately decided to go no contact. He sent her a long, detailed message with our reasonings, and we haven't heard from her since. Our baby is now 10 months old. Dan and I feel more at peace than ever before, but his family keeps trying to convince us to reach out and try to mend things with her. We don't want to, and we don't feel like it's our jobs to once again try and fix things that we didn't cause in the first place. We just want to continue with our happy little family and protect our baby from toxicity that came from with my mother-in-law. Am I the a-hole for cutting her off? No, I don't think so. I've cut off my own mother um, for a lot of reasons out of something similar to this. I mean, I'm not going to get into it or anything like that. Not now, maybe later on down the road. But no, I don't think you're the a-hole. But let's see what Reddit had to say. Not the a-hole. She didn't want to be there to support her son. She wanted to be there to get the first baby picture for her world's best grandma Facebook post. The support her son line made me roll my eyes too. Like, be real. She wanted a front row seat at a photo op, not to help. If someone ignores a clear no during childbirth of all times, they're never going to respect smaller boundaries. Going no contact feels like punishment and more like basic self-defense at this point. For real, that sounds more like she wanted to be part of the event than actually help. Big difference between showing up for support and showing up for attention. Absolutely nailed it. There's a massive difference between genuine support and inserting yourself into a moment that was never about you. The fact she ignored multiple boundaries before and during one of the most vulnerable times speaks volumes. OP wasn't just protecting herself, she was protecting her peace and her family's future. I'm with Reddit on this one. You're not the a-hole. Okay, on to the next story. This one is from Reddit user Less Hospital 5434. And the title is, Am I the a-hole for not telling my husband about our conference call? I, 37 female, filed for divorce back in September, about 2 weeks before my anniversary. I moved home with 2 children, female, male, to my parents. I've been here since. Sometime in October or November, I go online and see there is a conference call scheduled in January. I let my husband, 38 male, know about the meeting via text, including the name, date, time, and that it is a Zoom call. I poured into researching what to have available and say to the court. A couple of weeks ago, I received a paper notice about the conference with a new date and time. I sent him a photo of the notice that night and informed him of the new date and time. He asked what happened to the other date, and I said it was probably tentative or they had to push it back. I'd been trying to meet up with him so we can discuss things ahead of court, but have yet to sit down and talk. He has had the kids on 2 weekends thus far, including today. Last night, I was writing out my thoughts on a schedule for parenting time. Some weeks in the summer, alternate major holidays, and shorter school breaks, and every other weekend during the school year. I texted him again and said, What do you think about this? He said, Can we stick a pin in this? Do the kids have school tomorrow? They do not, so he has them until this evening because of the snow. The conference call took place today. He did not show up. I offered to call him. The assistant said I didn't have to, and we continued. I requested that we be referred to friend of the court to get all our records in writing. We meet with him. We meet with them in a few months. I was anticipating getting a message or phone call about the Zoom meeting from my husband along the lines of, "Why didn't you call me?" But instead, he asked if I had some money to cover a streaming subscription so he can watch a new show that he's been wanting to see. For context. Love context. He is no longer employed and is waiting on unemployment to kick in. We no longer have our car because it was impounded. We were months behind on the payments before he lost his job. Now he lives with his brother and family who are mobile so he can drive around as needed. Once he remembers that we had a court conference, I'm totally expecting a "why didn't you remind me" call or text. Oh, well, we have a little update to find out what happened. How did he react? Let's see. So apparently my brain was exaggerating his reaction the whole time because he didn't ask why didn't I remind him, like, at all. There was a pattern I noticed though. He's obviously not reading the text I've been sending him. The notice, what is this notice you're talking about? Our daughter's assignment and school closings. I just said we have access to the same information and don't beat yourself up. Just be diligent and attentive in what's going on. He said he is juggling a lot. I don't know what that means exactly, but okay, guy. If anything more interesting happens, I'll let you know. Well, you didn't ask it at the end, but are you the a-hole for not telling my husband about our conference call? I don't think so. So here's the thing that I've learned in the past when it comes to custody and everything with court is that you each need to be on your own thing. Basically, you need to each be there. You need to each show up. You each need to do the thing. It's not your responsibility to tell him. He's a fully grown man. He could have done it himself. Yeah, maybe he's going through some stuff, not having a job, living with his brother in a mobile home and everything, but that's his choice, not yours. As long as your kids are coming home fed, clothed, and taken well care of during the times they're with him, what he does on his own time, it is what it is. And he missed a court date. You offered to call. The assistant said nope. So it's not your fault. And that doesn't make you the a-hole. Let's go to the comments. Top comment here. Not the a-hole. It doesn't sound like either of you are letting go of the roles you've developed in your marriage. He's not your responsibility not to pay for his wants, not to remind him of his appointments, not to tell him whether his children have school. When he asks why you didn't remind him, tell him it's because you're not his mother and he is an adult who can manage his own business. That right there. That's exactly, he said that perfectly. Who really care or who really cares? That was perfect. Perfect, perfect. That's exactly what I was thinking. Not the a-hole. You already told him twice. Twice, mind you. At some point, he's got to manage his own stuff. You're divorcing him, not co-parenting a grown man. It sucks, but it's not on you anymore. And then OP responded, thanks, and you're definitely right. He owes me money, too. Oh, that's great. Loser owes you money. Imagine that. Final comment, and then the OP responds, get used to it. He's unemployed, so good luck getting him to pay child support. I'd personally not have my children going back and forth every other weekend to him until he has his own place instead of crashing at someone's house either. Happy Cake Day. He can still pay child support even if he is unemployed, but I'm sure he will have a job by the time everything is final. That was from OP. OP, Reddit says it. I'm saying it. You're not the a-hole. You handled everything perfectly. Just stop parenting him. He is a fully grown man that should be taking care of himself. Okay, on to the final video. Please don't mind my cat over here. This is Chica. We've had her for about 10 years now, so don't mind her, though. She's just minding her own business sleeping. All right, final Reddit story. Last one today, guys. Bear with me. This one comes from Reddit user last application 6207, and it's from the subreddit Am I the A-hole? Title is Am I the A-hole for refusing to tell my wife I love her more than my dad? Well, let's get into the story and find out what happened here, because that's a very intriguing title. This is a stupid argument, but we both think we're right, so I'll let Reddit decide. My dad babysat for us last night so we could go on a date. I picked him up and drove him over because he avoids driving at night these days. My wife and I said to put the baby down for the evening by 8. I understand the not wanting to drive at night. My dad, at 73 years old, still thinks he can drive at night, and he got into a bad wreck. So yeah, I get that part. Yeah, I, I totally agree. When we go back, my dad was sitting on the couch holding our sleeping baby. He said he was sorry he wasn't in the crib, but that he fussed whenever he tried to put him in the crib, so he just gave up and held him. My wife was upset, and it was obvious. I took the baby to put him in the crib. When I went back into the living room, they were a whisper arguing. I told Dad we should head back. He got in the car, and I drove him home. He apologized for not putting the baby in the crib and said he was very fussy and probably just missed us and was anxious we weren't the ones putting him down. I said he was probably right, and it was no big deal. When I got home, my wife was still upset. She asked me what my dad said about her. I said he didn't say anything about her, just apologized and said the baby probably missed us. My wife said he won't adjust to his sleep schedule unless it is consistent. I agreed with her and said it's been a long time since my dad took care of a baby, so we should cut him some slack. I'm going to stop right there. She's right. He won't adjust to his sleep schedule unless it's consistent, but missing one night isn't going to mess up that sleep schedule at all. Because if you're thinking that way, what's going to happen is that when your kid gets older and wants to go and, I don't know, spend the night at his friend's house, your child's going to be going to bed at a bedtime when they should be out having fun with their friends, up, talking and having all those secret stories that all of us people have done in our past. So one night is not going to mess up a sleep schedule. I understand where she's coming from, but again, it's one night's not going to mess it up. And by the way, if you hear noises in the background, my kid's being a little loud. Sorry. All right, back to the story. She asked why I was taking his side over hers. I said, I'm not, but that we had a great night and I didn't want us to let something minor ruin it. She said it isn't minor and I'm supposed to back her up, not gossip about her with my dad. I said I didn't gossip about her. All I did was drive him home. She asked why I drove him home and she was clearly upset. I asked, what else was I supposed to do? She said, I could have ordered a rideshare or a cab. I said, the plan was always for me to drive him home. She said, right, right, because we have to stick with the almighty plan. I asked her why she didn't just tell me she wanted me to do something different. She asked if I would have if she asked me to. I said I wasn't sure because of the cost and time delay. She said, exactly. I said, we could have talked about it though. She said, I'm always trying to sit on the fence when I should be on her field. I said, I am on her field. She asked, who I love more, her or my dad? I said, that was a crazy question and I wasn't going to answer it. She said she needed to know. I said, I don't rank people I love. I love my wife as a wife and my dad as a dad. She says, I'm an asshole for not choosing her. I say, I'm not, because I don't think love is a numbered list like some kind of Watch Mojo video. So are you the a-hole for refusing to tell your wife that you love her more than your dad? Um, I don't think so, because you're right. There's different kinds of love. There's, that love that you have for your significant other. There's the love you have for a pet. I've got 3 of them. The little one here again is Chica. She's my 12-year-old's cat. He got her when she was like 2, or when he was like 2, and he was really into Five Nights at Freddy's at the time. So hence the name Chica. I got my pit bull over there. So I love my children in a completely different way than like I love my dad. I don't get me wrong, I love my dad to death, but my children is just there's just yeah. So he's right. There's a different way to love your wife and there's a different way to love your dad. And in my opinion, he was not, because he did not say he loved his dad more than he loves his wife, or he loves his wife more than he loves his dad. And also, let a grandparent be a grandparent, because they're not going to be around very long. Let the child go and have fun with their grandfather. I'm sorry, I'll get to the comments in a minute. But I have a little story. My youngest, the one that you keep hearing yelling in the background if you're hearing him, I don't know, he must have been about 2, maybe 3. I asked my dad, hey dad, I need to go to the store. Can you watch him for 20 minutes? Because if any of you have ever tried to take a toddler to a grocery store, or any store for that matter, yeah, it was just easier to ask my dad, hey, watch him for 20 minutes. I left. My son was clean. His clothes were clean. He was clean. He had no dirt on him, nothing. I come home and tell me why my son is covered in grease from head to toe, sitting in my dad's shed, helping my dad work on his motorcycle. Did I get mad? No, I just threw my kid in the shower when I got home and we scrubbed it all off. But that was a core memory. That was a memory not only for my son, who probably doesn't really remember that, but he hears the story, but also for my dad, because he had his little grandson right there telling him stories while he was working on the bike. And let my son feel like he was working on the bike too by handing grandpa tools. So let your child, if your parents are good parents, let those children bond with their grandparents, because their grandparents are not going to be around forever. Just let them bond. And the fact that this baby was sleeping in his grandfather's arms is really good. Is really good, because that's a bonding moment both for the grandfather and the child. Okay, off my side note now. Back onto the comments. Top comment here. Not the a-hole. I get being very on top of the schedule. I am with my child. But when other people put her to sleep, I already know it's unlikely it'll go the way it does when we put her to sleep. And it's more about baby being comfortable and happy when it's other people. She has to learn to be okay when things don't go as planned, which isn't easy for everyone. I'm glad your dad held your child when they were upset. He's a great grandpa. I agree with this one. It's absolutely true. I understand where the OP's wife is coming from, because I have control issues. I'm told I have control issues. And it's hard to let go, especially when you're a single mom. And I've been a single mom for almost 19 years now. So I get that part. And it's hard when things don't go the way that you plan. But when you have children, things are never going to go the way they're planned. I can promise you that. I try to get out of this house to give me enough time to drive to wherever I need to go, but getting my kids up and going is one of the hardest things on the planet. So yes, you need to learn to be okay when things don't go as planned. And again, let you let the babies enjoy their grandparents. Let the grandparents enjoy the babies, because the grandparents are not around forever. This one is And one instance will not break a routine or get a baby to expect contact sleep every night. Very true. Don't get me wrong. Babies love contact sleep. It is what it is. But one instance is not going to break it. I like this one. Autistic tumor girl, you got it perfect. Seriously, what's she going to do when the baby gets ill for the first time and screams his head off every time someone puts him down? Just let him scream all night, not feeling well and probably confused and scared? Christ, a good sleep schedule is important, but there will always be exceptions. Not to mention, this is by Baby Irish Kitty. Not to mention, there have been studies that show when babies are left to cry it out, they don't actually relax, but get more stressed. They go quiet because they learn no one is coming to help them, not because they're settled. So, I used to be told, let my babies cry it out. And it hurt me so bad. Unfortunately, I did do that because at some points there was times that I did everything. I made sure they were fed, changed, nothing was hurting them, they had contact, but even while I was trying to play with them and engage with them, they just wanted to cry. They were fussy. It was an issue, and within 5 minutes, they were asleep. So it was just, they were tired, and that's why they were crying. But when you just let them cry it out for no other reason, that is not good. And it hurts a mom. As a mom, it hurts. It really hurts. So no, OP, you're not the a-hole. Um, she needs to understand that things aren't going to go as planned. You did great by driving your dad home, saving that money on the ride share. You know, all all that. So no, you're not the a-hole. Okay, guys, that was our video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please, again, give me that subscribe and like. I know I asked you at the beginning of the video and everything. Obviously, I need it. I've only got like 19 subscribers at the moment, so I really, really would love to have that subscribe and that like. It'll help me be able to put out more content, give me that little bit of extra time to find some better stuff, Eventually I'm gonna probably try to put a couple of gaming videos up here, and everything, because I do like playing games. I just got to be in the mood for them. Um, I don't know how you guys would feel about this, but let me know how you would feel about maybe a book review or two video. I'm going to learn how to do those because I do love the read. So just please hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, give me some love. I would really appreciate it. But until we meet again, bye!